Hello everyone, and welcome to Ilyon's All Ages Concert! That's right, you've got an all-access pass to the Stack Tech. Hey everybody! We are playing some more Eternal this week, and I am brewing up a little bit with some of the new cards that came out in Dead Reckoning. Meta has changed a lot. A lot of the nerfs make way more sense, I think. People were really mad that Felm was dead, blah, 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 blah. I have fought so much Felm. Hailstorm is everywhere. It's bad. Hailstorm is quite the card. If you're not familiar with it, 3 damage to each unit, and oh wow, it nukes a lot of aggro decks. Not entirely. There's certainly still an avenue to be aggro, and that's kind of what we're looking at right now. This is a bit of a different deck. I've only played a couple of games with it, but I've done a similar list before, and I wanted to do this one now because there's a really cool card that I like. I feel like this has some potential. Wardwielder. So it's a 2-power 5/5. As long as you have Aegis. Whew. Like, that's such an insane rate. You're not always going to be able to get it. It's hard to have Aegis early, but I just can't give it up. I can't get it out of my head. I really want to play with this card. Now, what do we build around that? Building around it, I want to obviously have a lot of way to give Aegis to myself, but I also want to have a lot of other creatures that protect themselves from things like Hailstorm, because that's going to be a big part of the meta, and so you're going to look at a lot more of Aegis on your creatures too. So we're looking at playing a lot of Crownwatch Paladins, some Jotun Feast Caller, Silverwing Familiar, Old Standby, and we're going to be playing Shelterwing Rider as well. Now, we're also going to have a couple ways, because Wardwielder doesn't protect itself, which is kind of a downside. We're going to play Darkveil Agent. Probably not going to be able to get it to happen too often. Darkveil Agent tends to be a magnet for removal, but there is a really cool kind of problem that you present your opponent on, say, turn 4. Because normally this isn't going to be a big deal on turn 2. It's more like turn 3 or 4 when this is actually a problem where you can Eilyn's Favor or play a Cobalt Waystone or something to give yourself some kind of Aegis. But Darkveil Agent and Wardwielder, for example, on turn 4 at the same time, often your opponent's not going to have multiple pieces of removal. Not that early, not that cheap. So they're going to have to kill the Darkveil Agent, which, I mean, kind of does what you'd want it anyways. You don't care too much about this being a 2/2. You just want this to live. And if this is just sucking up the removal anyways, well, cool. This lived. So you're presenting them with a really awkward situation where it's like, well, I have to answer Wardwielder, but I also have to answer Darkveil Agent. So most of the time, like, if they have Torch, they're going to have to just kill the Darkveil Agent. And so it just becomes a bit of an annoyance. So it leads to some nice little situations there where they're stuck between the both of them. Same thing with like Shelterwing Rider, Unseen Commando, all of these different cards. There's a bunch of different Unseen in this deck, as you can tell. The ones that don't have Aegis are all Unseen. So Unseen Commando, Darkveil Agent, and Wardwielder don't naturally have Aegis, but they're all Unseen, so they can all get Nightfall Aegis triggers from Darkveil Agent, which is pretty sweet. Now, Jotun Feast Caller and some of these other cards, like Darkveil Agent, maybe Crownwatch Paladin as well, can have a bit of a problem getting through damage later in the game. So we have a few different things to get that online as well. We have the flyers with Shelterwing Rider and Unseen Commando. Those don't really need any help. But we do have to pump up things like your Darkveil Agent, your Crownwatch Paladin, your Jotun Feast Caller. We have Finest Hours as early combat tricks. A lot of people, you have to block Jotun Feast Caller, essentially. So they'll block it. Hopefully you have a Finest Hour can blow them away. You also have Inquisitor's Blades and Hammer of Might. So Hammer of Might, again, old standby. Give Warcry 3 to the wielder, and you get to make a big nasty critter and smack him in the face. Really useful when you have something with Aegis. Something with Evasion is extra nice, so when you can put it on something like Silverwing Familiar. It's also kind of fun because it will not be permanent because the Warcry is only for a turn, but it'll actually trigger Unseen Commando if you put it on the right thing. So, like Darkveil Agent getting an Aegis and then getting Hammer of Mighted actually gets the +1/+1 bonus from Unseen Commando. So, pretty cool little interaction. The other one that's new, this one's from the newest release, which is Dead Reckoning, and that's Inquisitor's Blade. Really weird new one. I've really liked it. I played it earlier in another list that I was playing, a Combray aggro list that I got from Tin Man, and Inquisitor's Blade really surprised me for how good it is. It just gives flying to the creature and +3/+1. When extra text is essentially Destiny, but only for the weapon. So essentially, the creature doesn't get revenge. Sorry, not Destiny, revenge. The creature doesn't get revenge, but the weapon does. So if you have a Darkveil agent with an Inquisitor's Blade, they kill the Darkveil agent. Inquisitor's Blade goes back into your deck in the top 10 cards. And then when it's drawn, it has Destiny, which means that you do have to have a creature in play. I've tested this. You have to have a creature in play. If you do, then immediately it'll put the Inquisitor's Blade onto that creature, and then you draw your card. So you can do some cool things with Inquisitor's Blade. Kind of a neat little weapon there, and really, really nice again on anything that's on the ground to get through. Really awesome on Crownwatch Paladin, because Crownwatch Paladin protects itself, has Warcry, but it's really hard to keep getting in because it only has 1 toughness. Well, you slap it with flying, and suddenly it's a massive threat. So I've really enjoyed those together. The other ways that we have to get Aegis on ourselves, we did talk about very briefly Eilyn's favor, because we need to have Aegis for ourselves for Wardwielder. We do also have 4 Cobalt Waystones to give ourselves free Aegis off of that. And I also ran a for funsies Duelist Blade. I might want to put more in. I'm just testing for now. We're just going to kind of see. I might want to put in more in. I might want to put in less, maybe add some more Finest Hours. I also have a couple of Eilyn's Choice as some testers, because I'm worried about, like, Hailstorm, we're trying to prevent it from being a big problem by having a lot of Aegis. But, they can certainly still do something like Hailstorm into Harsh Rule. I just want to have a little bit of backup against some of those kinds of spells. Also against, other big nasty creatures. And those what our Vanquishes are for here too. These could certainly change to things like Lightning Strikes, maybe even our own Hailstorms against other aggro decks. That seems pretty unlikely. But you might want to mess around with some of the removal slots. That's where we're a little bit weak and I don't know what to do with. Like Duelist Blade, Vanquish, and Eilyn's Choice are essentially our creature removal. And those could switch around. Vanquish is notoriously narrow, like it only gets very, very specific things. Same with Eilyn's Choice and same with Duelist Blades. They all have their own little niches that they hit. And I'm not sure how I'd want to do them. It might be better to just take out Vanquish and like 1 more Vanquish and put another Duelist Blade, or even just put in Lightning Strikes, because Eilyn's Choice is already handling larger units. Really hard to say. Until we test it a lot anyways. So, speaking of testing, let's play some matches.